All information contained in this podcast is general in nature and does not consider your individual circumstances. You should consider the appropriateness of this information with regards to your individual objectives, financial situation, and needs. Welcome to Sharing More Than the Sheets, a podcast to help you and your partner make better financial and lifestyle decisions so that you can both focus on the things that you love. I'm your host, Michael Khouri, financial planner, green thumb, husband, and just dad. This segment is called Michael's Magic Moment. It's my opportunity to play a little snippet from one of our previous episodes, which resonated with our listeners, that I received feedback from, or I felt really had an impact on some people's lives. Hope you enjoy. Today I want to go back to an episode I did with Keith Abraham. It was episode number 37, and we talked about passion and finding your passion. To me, Keith mentioned something very, very important. We're going to play it straight after this, but he mentions the importance of passion, and he mentions why it's so important to follow your passion. Now, it sounds very obvious. Most people will be like, well, of course you want to follow your passion, but while most people know about this, not many people actually do it. And as he says, many people endure, but they don't enjoy. Now, I give the example of a client of mine that just did some study because it's what his parents wanted him to do. He earns really good money, but is just not happy. And the reason I'm talking about this today, and the point I really wanted to make is, and I've said this before, but money is just money. Money is not going to make you happy. Money is an enabler. It enables you to do things. And yes, it may reduce certain stresses in your life, but earning lots of money is not going to make you happy. Doing something that you're passionate about is what's going to make you happy. Being around people that you're passionate about, doing a job that you're passionate about, achieving something that you're passionate about is something that's going to make you happy. It's not the only thing, but it's something that will make you happy. And it's very important to remember that. And if there's one thing that you take away from this episode and from what Keith's about to say, is that you need to ask yourself this question: are you doing something at the moment that you are passionate, that you actually enjoy? If not, is there a plan to do that? Because most people work really hard their whole lives to one day finally do something that they're passionate about. And they spend all these years, as Keith says, enduring but not enjoying, while they can possibly be enjoying something that they're passionate about in that process. Yes, of course, we all go through journeys, and we all hope to we all have goals, long-term goals, and it's important to have that. But what's the point if you're wasting decades and decades of your life completely ignoring the thing that you're passionate about and focusing on the things that you're not really passionate about, and you're literally just enduring all the time? And it is easier said than done. Don't get me wrong. Not all of us can earn a living doing something that we love and that we're passionate about. I'm blessed that I can talk about something that I love talking about, and something that I could probably talk about for hours. And I mean, I've got that much to say. I've started my own podcast show, as you know, but it's something that we need to keep in mind. And to some people, doing something that you're passionate about could be having a hobby, doing something on weekends, after work, before work, maybe changing careers, maybe going back and doing some study. If there's something that you've always loved, something that you've always wanted to do, go and study it. Because the thing is, study, education you can take on, right? Emotion you could probably fake, but passion you can't fake. You can't fake passion. You can't fake, you can't pretend to be passionate about something. I mean, you can try. Some people are great actors, but passion is just something that's inside you. And it's something that you just, you literally cannot even, I can't even explain it. So it's something that's there, and it's something that you can't ignore. And I'll leave it with Keith now to talk about it. But I'm going to play a part of this episode, which to me, I took a lot out of. Like, there is so much jammed into this 10-minute part that he discusses. But have a listen, share it with a friend, share it with someone that you think, probably needs to hear it, and send me through your thoughts. I'm getting a lot of messages lately and comments. Send through your thoughts, please, and tell me how it's helped you, or someone that or just share it. And hopefully it helps you find your passion, and eventually it will help you live your passion, or encourage you to do so at least.
Yeah, well, Michael, after speaking to 1.7 million people around the world over the last 25 years, the thing I can tell you is 3% of people go and make things happen, 10% of people think or expect things to happen, 60% of people just watch things happen, and 27% of people don't know what happened. So you're 100% right around the whole, 80-20 around those numbers, because one of the great challenges for most people is people talk themselves out of achieving what they want to achieve, having what they want to have.
Yep.
And that comes back to mindset, because mindset precedes momentum. So if you don't think you're worthy, deserving, capable, if you don't think you are, have got the skills, the talent, the expertise, the capability to achieve something, well, guess what? You're already behind the eight ball, and you probably won't even attempt it. So one of the things that I do is talk to people a lot about, what's the mindset they need. Now, there are 6 key mindsets. I know we talked about 5, but one of them is exceptionally positive. But from my experience of talking to people at the back of conference rooms after I present over the last 25 years, people have basically 5 mindsets that slow them down, that are these roadblocks to stopping them from achieving what's important, what matters, and what's going to make a difference to them and the people who mean the world to them. So the first mindset is that people feel lost. And what we mean by that is, I often ask people the question, what do you want to achieve? And they go, I don't know. I go, okay, well, we can work with that. What do you feel like you've achieved in the past? Keith, I'm not sure. Okay, well, what do you want to achieve in the future? And they go, Keith, you don't understand. I don't know. And so I go, so here's what I say. If you don't know where you're at, if you don't know where you're going, and if you don't know where you've come from, I reckon that's a good definition of lost. So the first mindset that most people struggle with is they just feel lost in their life or in their career or in their relationship. The second is people get frustrated. Well, what does that really mean? I ask people, well, so what do you want to achieve? And they go, I don't know. But you know what I do know, Keith? It's not this. It's not this set of financial circumstance, not this level of health. It's not the relationship I have with my partner or my kids. It's not the career I'm in. And so they're frustrated because they don't know what they want, but they definitely know what they don't want. The third is, of course, people feel confused. And what we mean by confused is they actually know what they want, but they don't know how to get there. So I have a picture, I have a vision of what I'm trying to achieve in the future, but I don't know what I need to do to move myself from point A to point B in the future. What skill, talent, I need to have to be able to move myself forward. And then, of course, there are people who are unclear. And what we mean by unclear is that they have multiple opportunities. And so you say to them, well, what do you want to achieve? And they go, well, I've got this opportunity. I can go and do this study and pursue this career. Or I could actually go and change how I approach this, and I could achieve that. And I've got this other opportunity over here. I could go and work in a totally different industry, and I could do that. And, of course, when people have got multiple opportunities, they get a little bit unclear on what one they should take. And of course, because people are looking for perfection rather than progress. And then, of course, the final one around this is that I come across a lot of people who are what I would call unsatisfied. They look good, they smell good, they've achieved a great deal in their life, in their career, in their relationships, and, and they drive a nice car, live in a nice house, kids go to a good school, and people go, well, what's going on here, Keith? Well, it's just they're not fulfilled. They've had all this success, and all of a sudden they get to a point where it no longer floats their boat, and they've lost their mojo, their energy for it. And so I call those people the unsatisfied. And then, of course, what we want everybody to be is to be, really clear on what they're trying to achieve. We want them to be certain. We want them to know, I have a vision for where I'm going to go. I have a plan on how I'm going to get there. And I'm also a realist enough to know that the plan may need to change because circumstances, situations, challenges may pop up. And those roadblocks that slow me down is okay because I have enough momentum to either go over the roadblock, to go around the roadblock, or go through the roadblock to get what I want. And so they're the 5 mindsets around goal achievement, with the 6th one being certain, which my goal always is to help people find greater certainty in their life. And that comes with clarity. See, with clarity comes confidence, with confidence comes certainty, and with certainty comes consistency. Consistency in action and consistency in mindset.
Okay, and I guess where does someone begin with these things? Because normally, I mean, if we're talking feeling unclear, having too many options,
Yes.
Sometimes people they study for decades or for years, and they work in decades in an industry, for example, and how does somebody sort of just take that jump or decide to, because, like, for example, I've actually got a client that's a doctor, and they studied medicine because it's what their parents wanted them to do. And they got pretty good results, and now they work as a doctor, but they're not fulfilled. I know for a fact they're not fulfilled. They don't feel, they literally just did what their parents wanted them to do. How does somebody do they just throw all those years away and just sort of go and do something completely different? Or, I know there isn't one answer, but I mean, from a mindset perspective, what path should that person be?
Yeah, so the solution for each of these ones, and let me just give you the quick solution. If you feel a bit lost, the solution is make a decision. The reason why most people don't make a decision is their fear of failure, or fear of success, or fear of change. And so the one thing I say, just make a decision. It doesn't matter if it's the right decision or the wrong decision. Make a decision. And if it's the wrong decision, make another one. If it's the right decision, pursue it more. So if you're a little bit in that situation where you feel a bit lost, that's what you need to do. Just make a decision to move. And you don't need to create a superhighway, Michael. You just need to know the next step, and then the next step, and the next step. If you're a bit frustrated, that's totally understandable. The solution there is to really start to think a little bit about, okay, what's the follow your heart. What would make your heart sing? What's the way forward around that? So put together that plan to be able to move yourself from here to the next spot. Get really clear on what that picture is of what it is that you want, and then just put a plan in place to be able to do that. If you're a little bit confused, then the key there is, create that plan. Create the plan that you want, but create it with someone. Design a plan, Michael, with someone who is going to act as a mentor. Is going to almost act like a 4-year-old and keep on asking the question why. When you say, "Well, I want to pursue this," great. So why do you want to do that? And so to dig down a little bit as you get really clear on what it is. If you're a little bit, as you said, if you're a little bit unsatisfied, then the real key around being unsatisfied is you've achieved so much in your life that what you're now looking at is legacy. Is how do I create a legacy that's bigger than me, outside of me, lives on after me, as part of that process. And come back to your, the comment you said around a little around, what if I'm a little bit unclear? I studied to be a doctor, and now I've realised that I'm not fulfilled in it. And so there's two things there. You can either go and pursue your passion and generate an income from it, or you can go and generate an income so you can go and pursue your passion. Now, from my experience, for a lot of people, it's neither either. They exist and they endure, they don't enjoy. And so for someone who goes, wow, like I've spent all this time, all this energy, all this money in doing it, and you sort of go, well, okay, but you're going to have to do it for the next 40 years. Why be miserable for the next 40 years?
Yep.
Unless it is the vehicle that's the cash cow, so you can go and climb a mountain or be a property developer or make sure you got every Wednesday afternoon off to go and watch your kids play sport or whatever it might be. But often people find that, I've spent all this money in getting this degree, I better do something about it. No, if it doesn't going to float your boat, geez, why be miserable for a long, long time?
Thanks for joining us on Sharing More Than the Sheets. Please make sure you subscribe to be updated with future episode releases, and feel free to share this episode with any friends or family that you think it might benefit. Please visit us at sharingmorethanthesheets.com.au to submit questions or requests for future podcast topics. These podcasts have been brought to you by Better Financial Planning Australia. To book a 15-minute phone chat, visit betterfinancialplanning.com.au.